Hi, I'm Louise from A2A Training and I'll give you an overview today of the Paraplanner Level 4 Endpoint Assessment. There's two elements to this endpoint assessment, the portfolio of evidence and the reflective discussion. So the portfolio itself is a collation of the apprentice's best work whilst on programme and contains evidence all the way up to gateway. The portfolio of evidence must demonstrate all 45 learning outcomes as listed in the assessment plan and on the mapping document. The portfolio is the showcase of the apprentice's best work and must contain a minimum of 3 different evidence types. To progress to reflective discussion, a minimum of 80% of the 45 learning outcomes, so 36 or more, must be met at pass or above within the portfolio itself. The apprentice cannot progress to the reflective discussion until the portfolio is passed. The portfolio itself must cover the 45 learning outcomes, which are numbered 1 to 45 on the mapping document that we provide. There is no set requirement for the number of pieces of evidence that you provide, and evidence itself can be mapped holistically, so the same piece of evidence may cover more than one criteria or KSB area. There's a focus here on quality rather than quantity, and you need to cover a good range of evidence. Make sure it's nice and clear to your assessor in the mapping document which pieces of evidence you're supplying to cover which criteria. So here's some examples of evidence such as workplace observations, reflective accounts or case studies, compliance audits, professional discussions with the training provider, presentations, project work or feedback, or development plans. So if you do supply videos or recordings, please keep them short and also timestamp them so your assessor can easily find the evidence. All evidence must be authentic and current, and any teamwork or collaborative report or the use of AI must be clearly referenced. Don't put evidence in the portfolio for the sake of it. Remember, it's a showcase of your best work. So the independent endpoint assessor will mark the portfolio and the apprentice will receive feedback prior to the reflective discussion. This feedback will clearly show how many learning outcomes have been met at pass and distinction level, and any learning outcomes not being met in the portfolio will then be covered in the reflective discussion. The apprentice can bring their portfolio to the reflective discussion along with 2 A4 pages of notes. The reflective discussion can cover any of the 45 learning outcomes, even if they have been met in the portfolio. So the reflective discussion, underpinned by the portfolio of evidence, will last around 60 minutes. The reflective discussion will take the form of a structured interview with the independent endpoint assessor to explore the content of the portfolio and the learner journey in more detail. The discussion itself would consist of around 16 questions, and additional questions can be asked as well. The purpose of the discussion is to clarify any questions about the evidence presented in the portfolio, evidence any aspects of the standard that are not already evidenced in the portfolio through discussion of how the apprentice performs in their role, and to discuss how the apprentice has progressed in their role and what they have done and their approach to work. It is a good idea to practice the reflective discussion, and we have some mock questions available for this. The discussion will be recorded for quality or training purposes and is most likely completed online. So the requirements for the EPA are as follows. Both assessments must be used, and between them they must cover 100% of the learning outcomes. A minimum of 80% of the learning outcomes must be met in the portfolio, and this must include a minimum of 1 learning outcome per competency. Please note, all evidence must be submitted at least 2 weeks before the EPA date. In terms of grading, there are grades distinction, pass and fail available. The individual assessment methods are not graded, so the 2 assessment methods are combined to give 1 overall grade, so the apprentice must provide evidence of meeting the pass criteria for all learning outcomes. The achievable grades for the knowledge area are pass or fail, and there's no opportunity for distinction. To achieve a distinction in the skills and behaviours areas of the standard, the apprentice must evidence at least 2 distinction criteria in each of the 5 skills and behaviours of the standard. To achieve a distinction overall, the apprentice must show evidence such as exceeding expectations, making innovative recommendations, and being solutions driven and proactive. So the 45 criteria covered within the standard are broken down into key areas. These key areas are quality service delivery, customer communication and relationships, team working and collaboration, planning and prioritising, using systems and processes, honesty and integrity, adaptability, enthusiasm, dependability, personal commitment, and customer communication and relationships. So you will need to be in a room on your own to complete the endpoint assessment, and it will most likely be completed online. The EPA is completed under examination conditions and can be completed from work, home, or from your college or training provider. Please log in around 15 minutes early to check your connection, and please check the requirements of the assessment plan, and any changes to the assessment plan must be adhered to. Please allow around 1.5 hours for the online element of the endpoint assessment to include setup and contingency. And remember to bring photographic ID on the day of your endpoint assessment, like a driver's licence or a passport. Good luck with your endpoint assessment, and here's our email address should you need us.